evening and happy Easter Sunday to everyone, and thank you for joining this Sunday, April 4th, the April 4th edition of the Island Stats Football Show. I'm your host, Earl Basin. Joining me is co-host Maceo Dill, as well as soon to join us will be Nikita Robinson and Garrett Punchy Dill. But we have some special guests with us today. First of all, Maceo, let me let you introduce them as you have some ties with this group here.
Yeah, good afternoon. It does give me a great pleasure and excitement to introduce the group that's here today. We have Nas Bashir. He's the director of Fabe Academy that's located in Bishop Abbey, Marlow, England. And we have Bermuda would know Torian Mendes. He's been out of Bermuda for the last 17 years playing professional football, as well as he's represented Bermuda. He's now a coach at the Fabe Academy. And we also have Sahil Deal, my son. This is the only time I actually get to see him. I had to bring him on the station so I can actually see him. But he's a third-year scholar at Fabe Academy. He's been there for 3 years. So definitely gives me great pleasure to introduce the guests on the show today.
Well, first of all, let me jump into Nas, the program in which you are the director of. How did it get started, and what was the aim and goal of the organization once it started to get going?
Yeah, the philosophy. Well, we started 11 years ago and started with the junior age groups with 6-year-old players come in. Ranging from 6 to 16, and giving players an extra football session a week alongside the games that the teams they played for, and their coaching session with their team that they played for. But we came with a more professional angle, more professional sessions. The coaches fully qualified, with a remit in the sessions to. Each session had some sort of philosophy in terms of like defending, attacking, and it was structured in a way the players could learn the game. So parents loved it. We built up from 20 kids to 100 to 200 to 300 to 400 kids that come weekly, which then filtered into the scholarship. And being based at Bishop Abbey National Sports Centre in England, Marlow, we've got a fantastic venue. England used to train there with Bobby Robson and Glenn Hoddle. So the facilities that we use are very professional. The coaching sessions that we put in front of the players and put in front of the coaches is very challenging, but obviously there's a lot of learning. It's a learning environment, and that's the benefit from the kids that come to us at 6. We've got some boys on the program now that have been with us since 6 years old, and they're now on the scholarship, which is great development plan for them. One player in particular that I've got at the moment has been with me since he was 8, and I feel he's ready now to go in at a professional level. So that's how the program works.
Okay, all right. And you say you gave us numbers just now, but was it the plan to grow as quickly as it did?
No, the plan was it started off just like low key, and then obviously word of mouth got out to local clubs, the level of coaching that was being delivered and how quickly young players were developing in that environment. And then the floodgates came, we're up to 400 kids max. We're sort of like maxed out every night when we coach. And it's been a sort of like an eye-opener that the parents and kids were looking for that session in between or the session before they go into a pro club.
And Tyrion, for you getting involved in this organization, how have you found the structure?
Well, it's kind of close to when I was at IMG, really. When I came up, have a little visit, I got that feel. So it was kind of like I've been here before. So it wasn't anything that I wasn't used to. But obviously the facilities first of all, I mean, you can't complain about the fields they play on and train on. And
Right.
obviously, you know, they have a place, you know, for education and everything else. So when I first came, I got that IMG feel because basically you're just playing football and education every day. I mean, you can't really complain about that either. So obviously it was more like, I don't know, I wouldn't say it felt like, you know, it felt like home, but I mean, it definitely felt comfortable coming into it. So it
Mm,
wasn't too much of a difference for me, I
right.
should say.
Right. And today I'm going to ask you, because obviously you go to a new environment. How quickly did you settle in? Now you're 3 years in. How quickly did you settle in, and what were some of the adjustments you had to make in order to be able to adapt?
Well, I've been away from my parents from like for a very long time, so it weren't that hard when I had to move in and to the dorms by myself and like get up by myself and go to training. But um, football wise, it was a big jump from Bermuda football to playing football at a high level in like FF. And yeah, I kind of just I had to adapt throughout the first year. The first year was kind of hard for me, and but the second year I come back and I kind of got my head screwed back on and was like, yeah, I gotta like get in the gym and yeah, just do what I have to do.
Yeah. Maceo?
I, no, so I like to just to elaborate a little bit more on the sixth form piece, where you take our players from both the academic piece into other universities or scouting or professional opportunities, because you do have players that came out of that program that that have been feeding both into universities as well as feeding into professional opportunities. Can you just elaborate on that piece a little bit more? What does it look like at the residential piece?
We initially wanted to give the 16 to 19 students was the opportunity to train full-time in a professional environment alongside an education package that would allow them to, should they not make it as a professional footballer, there's still that opportunity to work in sport. Very lucky to be supported by Sport England. They like the idea that we're giving young people this academic qualification that is it's a backup if they don't make it as in a professional environment as a professional player, but they still got the opportunity to get a career and go on to higher education. The BTEC Level 3 course that we run is a National Diploma Award in Sport. It's the equivalent of 3 A levels, which gives the students enough UCAS points to go to university, which we instruct all that and we organise all that. Should the students want to, when they leave the 2-year course, want to go to university, we help them with that. We also got opportunities for scholarships to America. So previous years, we've had boys, probably 25 to 30 boys go to universities and 25, 30 boys go to scholarships to America. And they're now out there, with careers in coaching, careers in sports science, physiotherapy, PE teachers. Quite a lot of them are coaching, semi-professional. So, there's the opportunity was there for them to see if they had enough ability, enough drive, enough maturation, and be lucky as well to become a professional footballer in England. If that didn't quite work, there's still that backup, and that's why our course that we offer, I feel, is a great opportunity for young players that they've got their football, but they still got the opportunity to educate at a high level as well.
What has been the number of people throughout your program that have actually gone on to make a career out of football, no matter how long it has been?
Yeah, well, I mean, over the 11 years, we've had 14 that signed professional. Okay, some are signed professional, we're not professional anymore, but they signed professional. There's probably out of all the whole of the boys we've taken on, I would probably say we've had over the 11 years about 350 students. I would say at least half of those are still playing semi-professional, if not more. There's quite a lot of them that I know are coaching, using for coaching careers in this country and abroad. But most of them, that I would say, there's a good 2/3 that are still playing football at a high level. In England, obviously, we've got the Premier League, the Championship, League One, League Two, National League, and then as the leagues filter down, the standard in England is still quite high, and the players can play semi-professional in England. They still get, you know, £400-500 a week at semi-professional level. So it's still a very good level to play at, and yeah, so that's where we are.
And Turin, for you, getting into this kind of setup, what have you learned adjusting from? Because you said when you got there, it felt like the IMG setup, but what have you what difference in the two have you seen in trying to develop and help young people to achieve their goal?
The only difference I actually see at the moment is because I'm on the other side of it now, actually more so on the coaching side. So when I went to IMG, obviously I'm going there just to play. So I wasn't thinking about, you know, coaching or how they were coaching or anything else. I just turned up in training and trained, went home, turned up to school, done what I had to do. So now, obviously on the other side of it, the very first day, obviously I'm looking at, you know, the coaches we have here, and I'm just thinking like, these guys are basically in a good environment here because the coaching they're getting is actually really good. The coaches they got here, I mean, I was learning basically from the first day, just, you know, how to deliver training sessions, set up training sessions, everything else. So obviously looking at it at a different angle, you know, on the other side, just coaching now that's probably the only difference I actually can see it now. But I mean, with like Nas said, obviously the education they're getting is basically mainly sports. So obviously for me at IMG, it was just regular high school, but I was still getting the same type of training every day. And obviously here the level was a little different, and the guys that are at this academy most of them are looking forward to playing professionally. And obviously at IMG, a lot of them, they just like football, so there wasn't, you know, that kind of mentality. So I noticed here a lot of the guys are looking to play at a professional level at some point. So obviously intensity in the training sessions are a little bit higher than they were when I was at IMG. So yeah, I think those are the main differences I noticed since I've been here.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome, Punchy. How are you this evening?
I'm good. Sorry I'm late, fellas. My apologies.
No problem. No problem.
The other work commitments. Glad to see you all.
Yes, yes.
You doing all right?
You have another question leading in?
Yeah. Hey, good evening to you all. Good evening to you all. Listen, Sadeo.
Good
Sadeo,
evening.
how are you?
Yeah.
Yes, how are you? Question I want to ask you. Your time there, I think is this your third year there? Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is it done being in the academy? What is it done for you in terms of education and even your footballing? What it's done to your footballing career?
My footballing career has taught me a lot. It's taught me like what it really takes to become pro. You just can't turn up. It's just not that easy. But yeah, on my, like I was saying, in my first year, I weren't like really up to par. Like I kind of was just like turning up, just going with the flow, and I had to learn that that's just not it. And I come back on my second year after I've been training with my father, and he was like, yeah, you got to do more than just turn up. It's like you need to be in the gym. So yeah, I took his advice. I come back my second year, got in the gym after training. Just put in my extras, worked hard in training, and like I wasn't afraid to get tired, and yeah, it just taught Fibs taught me a lot on how like what it really takes is you can't just turn up and just say, yeah, I'm gonna come train. But yeah, because that was my mentality, that was my laid back mentality, and it just taught me a lot. Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have more from these guys here at Punchy. We'll be right back, okay?
Thank you. Yeah.
Nature's Path Organic are a family business, major proponents of the organic method of food production with decades of experience in the field, and have diversified their interests focusing on animal welfare and children's education in that realm. Hence the introduction of Enviro Kids cereal made to the exacting standards we expect and benefiting their cause, saving animals one breakfast at a time. 1% of sales goes towards protection of animals and their habitats. We're featuring Enviro Kids organic, gluten-free Gorilla Munch cereal. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Well, we just had a view of the promo for the school. Nas, getting the experience, what would you recommend? Having people come at a younger age so they get that learning behavior, because probably Zadeo and Jorin could probably attest to the fact that a lot of times Bermudian kids get laid back. Things kind of come easy, but getting into an environment to try and push themselves ahead, would you recommend that they come, what age would you recommend that they come to a program like yours?
Yeah, I mean, Zadeo's a fine example. I mean, he came to us when he was 16. I can probably say the environment that we create, because I'm quite serious. The boys have to be serious about their football. And I know Bermudians are very laid back. I've had this conversation with Maceo. And he was laid back, turned up for training, 10 minutes late, in the sessions, not giving enough, not doing enough. And he recognised that. And like he said, in his second year, he became a bit more serious. I got on his back a little bit more and said, look, I need more from you. You need to start doing more. You've got to use that pace that you've got. You've got to have end product. And have to say the last certainly end of last season, this season with COVID has been very disrupted, and it's such a shame because I feel like Zadeo was really kicking on, and he is kicking on physically. His game understanding has improved. He's a threat in games because of his pace, and there's just areas of his game we need to tidy up, just like his final pass, his final cross, or his final finish in front of goal. But certainly he's a threat now, and he's realised now what it's all about. He's serious about it. So the fact he's been with us for 3 years now, a boy coming from Bermuda at 16 or a girl, they're leaving home. I think there's that period of like leaving home and growing up. So I would say 16 would probably be a good time to come. If somebody comes to me at 18, then fine. You know, they're a bit older, a bit more mature. But certainly, the longer time we can spend with the players, the better it's more beneficial to them. You know.
So true. Let's try you now, Maceo.
Yeah. Question for Sadeo. Obviously, you have ambitions of making it at football. What are you doing outside of football academically as a backup?
Well, during my time at FAIB on the 2-year course, we done BTEC. We done a BTEC level 3 sport course. So yeah, if all goes to fail with football and I don't achieve my goal of being a professional footballer, I always have that option of I always have the BTEC under my belt, which will allow me to do like basically anything to do with sports. Like if I wanted to become a PE teacher, physiotherapist, or sports media, anything to do with sports, that BTEC will allow me to study further at university.
Punch?
A question from Mendes. I spent 2 years in Bournemouth with Sadeo. Sadeo lived with me, and he was struggling a bit. I could tell you that, but I've seen such a vast improvement since he's been with you guys. I'm gonna tell you that. Some of the videos I've seen of his what he does now compared to what he was when he was in Bournemouth in the area in Poole where he lived, where he lived with me. But how have you been able to achieve that, to get that out of Sadeo? Because I'm telling you, I'm like, whoa, some of the stuff I've seen, it's just an improvement on his ability on the field, and I think his work rate is better. So what did you notice when he first got there and what he is now?
Well, to be honest, I just started September, so I didn't see the actual growth from the last 2.5 years. But I did get a bit of a, I should say, idea from Ness when I came to visit. He told me exactly what, how he started out. It's basically the exact same thing Ness spoke about a few minutes ago, about, how when he first came in, how he was and how he is now. But because to be honest, this is the first time I'm seeing Sadeo since he was like 9. So it's definitely been a bit of a improvement since 9. So I think Ness will probably be able to answer that question a little better.
Did you hear the question, Ness?
Yeah, like I said, I think I think Sadeo's realised, if you want to be a professional footballer, you have to turn up every day. You're going to go into a club, a professional club, and you're going to get paid. The manager, needs to see that you got that hunger in training every day. Your preparation, you've been, you're yawning, you're not tired, you've had the right food, and these are all the things we try to educate the boys when they come to FAB, to say, look, it's the preparation. It's not just, you can't just turn and play join in training and do it once a week. It's got to be every day. A professional footballer is a job. You get paid well, and you have to turn up every day. And if you don't turn up every day, somebody takes your shirt. And that's what football is now. You have to be in the team. You've got to be in the squad, and you have to be achieving certain goals. And Sadeo realizes that now, and he's matured. He's become more hungry. He realizes what he needs to do, what he now needs to do going forward. We've set that seed in him now, and let's hope he achieves what he wants. And I'm sure he's going to play at a high level.
We have Nikita Robinson joining us as well, Coach Kita. Nas, we've seen a lot of the boys' side. Does the program offer availability to females as well?
Yeah, so we've just started a girls section. We have 5 girls on our scholarship. We're trying to push it out for this September's intake. We have a trial period coming up from now until then. And obviously, football in this country is getting bigger. We're trying to get a girls-only program. We've got junior girls that come on a Thursday evening, roughly about 40, 50 girls come now. But certainly, the plan moving forward is to run a girls scholarship, and yes, we would be taking girls from abroad to come and be part of our program.
Segue right into Coach Keita.
Good evening, guys. My apologies. Easter dinner, family time, so I'm just able to jump on. It's good to hear, that you are having a girls' side. What are the requirements? What requirements will the girls need, and what's the age group? What's the age range of girls?
Yeah, we would again. If we were taking a girl from Bermuda, I would say it's a 16 to 18 program. Obviously, alongside the BTEC course, with what would be a great offer. To know that there's an opportunity to obviously develop the football, but alongside it have an education course to fall back on. Something that we haven't spoken about really as well is the 2 years that the students are with us. We do the FA, Football Association Level 1 coaching qualification. We take them through that, get them qualified. And then in year 2, we take them through the FA Level 2 coaching qualification, which is a hard qualification to achieve. So we're giving them that groundwork that they've got something to fall back on. So certainly with women's football now, there's going to be job opportunities, coaching roles, managers' roles, so it's a whole spectrum of coaching opportunities for girls and women's football moving forward, and we want to be part of that.
Mace?
No, so I spent 6 weeks there at the program. I got, of course, that 6 weeks I'll spend there, I was able to see how everything operated. One of the things that I noticed that was fascinating for me is that their coaches also are teaching the boys in the classroom. It's a double thing that's going on, so they get to understand the boys. I'd like for you to speak a little bit about that piece, and the benefit of that piece where coaches are also their school teachers and boys being handled by them. Also, can you elaborate a little bit on your history in football? I mean, I know that you spent some time at Reading as well, running their academy where you met Bermuda legend Sean Goder, and how all these pieces, these puzzle pieces piece together to what you have created now at FAB.
Okay, yeah. I mean, all the coaches at FAB, I mean, Tareen will be part of this, and he is part of this, I feel we're all like mentors to the young people. They come to our academy at 16 on a full-time scholarship, and I'd like to feel when they leave at 18 or 19, they're mature adults, they've got good life skills, they've got respect, they know about the world. And so a lot of all my coaches, we work in a way where we try and mentor individuals. You should be doing that, or you need to be doing this. And I think that's important we do that, because we've all got experience. Going back to my time in football, I started with Reading Football Club in 86-91 as a professional. Didn't quite make the grade. Probably the wrong era for me, because it was quite physical, long ball. Started doing my coaching badges. Eventually got a job at Reading in 2000. Worked in their academy and worked really hard. At that time, Reading were in Division 1 and then went to the Championship, into the Premiership. And then that's where Sean came along and played for the team. And that's how I knew him. But during that period, I worked at the academy and I got a lot of players through. I found Gylfi Sigurdsson on a DVD when he was 14. Hal Robson-Kanu. And there was at least 10, 15 other players that we managed to get into the first team through a development program, which was, hard work, a lot of structure, which is what I've done at FAB. I've sort of like taken away all my knowledge and experience. I'm a pro licensed coach, so I have the highest coaching qualification you can achieve in England. And I'm using that now with my coaches and with the younger players that are around me, and hoping we can drip feed it on. We can get some more success and get some more players playing at high level. If the success is not playing professional football, and I create somebody that gets a job in football, Tareen at the moment, he's on his level 2 coaching badge. We'll get him on his 3. FAB Academy is a learning environment for everybody. And I'm sure, Maseo, when you said you came there that for the week and you spent some time with us, there was a lot of learning going on. And that's how I wanted it to be moving forward. And that's how it's always been like that.
But we'll be right back. We're going to take another commercial break. We'll be right back.
There was a time when sea vegetables were considered exotic by most, and then along came sushi consisting in raw fish with rice and sea vegetables, notably seaweed and porpora. The folks at Gimme Health Foods know that sea vegetables are fat-free, low in calories, and one of the richest mineral sources in the vegetable kingdom, as they flourish surrounded by the mineral-rich ocean. And that roasted seaweed is a real good eats. Could this be the ideal snack? We're featuring Gimme Health organic sea salt and avocado and sesame seaweed snacks. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Karen, we have a question for you. How have you found the coaching style compared to what you received as a player?
Okay. Well, obviously is a big difference. I wouldn't say a big difference, but there definitely is a difference between, getting coached in the US about almost 15 years ago now to England 15 years later. The philosophy, to be honest, is basically the same. The coaches I had at IMG wanted to play football, so we definitely done that. But the difference there is, I know, the coach I had at IMG was very he's a very tactical type coach. So depending on the game, let's just say we have a plan going into a game. If it's not working, he would just switch it really quickly. So it's not like he would say just keep going, keep doing what you're doing. No, he would basically switch it. And now I see, obviously things, if it's not working in the game, they're still saying, this is what we're doing, and this is what we want you guys to be doing on the field, and let's keep going. So that's one of the biggest things I should say is the difference in style. But obviously in the US, it's not as physical as it is in the UK, which is kind of funny because in the US they always went for height, but it wasn't exactly physical, which didn't really make sense to me, to be honest. But yeah, those are two real differences I can think of at the moment.
Dale, let me ask you a quick question about this COVID and how has it affected you physically and mentally?
COVID is affected a lot of us, but me, it kind of came at a very bad time for me because, as Nas said, last year, which would be my second year, I was kind of flying football wise, and I was scoring goals, getting into the top teams, playing against pro academies, and I was flying. I felt like my football career was really taking off. And then obviously COVID hit, and then I had to go back to Bermuda for I think I was in Bermuda from March till September, and then that really took a toll. And then obviously I come back and as a third year scholar, and obviously I have no gym to go to because the gyms are closed, and so obviously that took a toll on my body as well, where I couldn't go to the gym. My muscles weren't getting the same work that I was doing when I was at FAB. So yeah, I come back and it kind of reversed. So I had to go back in the gym when I come back to FAB and go start all over again. So it really took its toll on me, COVID. And mentally, I kind of throughout the lockdown, I was kind of just telling myself just stay focused when you get back to FAB. I knew what I had to do. I had to get back in the gym as soon as possible. Got back train hard when I go out on the pitch, and yeah, I just was telling myself the whole time that I need to that's what I need to do.
Punch?
Yeah, so there's a couple of questions I have for Torn and if I have Mr. Bashir, Nas Bashir. Torn, there's so many now, maybe 5 or 10 years ago, there weren't people even thinking about sending the children overseas to go to England now. I mean, it's becoming that's a norm now. Can you explain to us, can you tell us what is necessary? Because so many people thinking that, oh, my son can go over there and get to England, he's a good player here, in Bermuda, but when it gets over to England, it's a whole different scenario. What is it that you would advise for even youngsters or parents that are thinking about sending kids at 10 to 12, at 12 or 13 years old, send them to England, and what to be prepared for? What should they be looking at whilst they're here in this country?
You have to, your mind has to be outside of Bermuda. Because one thing I did notice, even going to the US, and Bermuda is so small, so obviously if you have success in Bermuda, you kind of think, okay, you know, you might think I'm the man and everything else. But when you go to the US, you come out to England, I mean, it is a bit of a shock to the system, because you won't most likely be the best. There's so many players from so many countries that are working hard, probably working as hard as you, working harder than you, waking up earlier. Like I noticed when I went to IMG, there was no mistake why a few of the guys that I played with actually made it to the MLS, making it to basically good level football, because I saw the work ethic when I was there. I saw it like firsthand. I used to see guys training before actual, by themselves, before training or after training. Like it might have been a day off where everybody was just taking a day off. I will walk past a field and I'll see, one of the guys out there just working on his touch, doing everything else. I'll be thinking he needs to take a break. But next thing you know, in 2 years, he's playing for New England Revolution. So it's, the main thing is basically the mindset and working hard. That is probably the hardest thing to get over, coming from Bermuda, basically, because in Bermuda, you don't have that mindset for the most part. So it's a bit hard, and it becomes a bit of a shock when you come out to England. So the main thing I would tell parents is just to try and keep telling your son, your daughter, you have to work hard, because it's not going to come that easily at all. So as long as you got that, that work ethic, and you got that mindset to get better every day in training, because basically training makes the games easier. So if you're in training and you're dying in training, the games come and you're just breezing through games. So it's basically just instilling into your kids just hard work. That's probably the main thing coming from Bermuda. Technically, I don't think it's that much of a difference, to be honest with you, because a lot of kids coming from Bermuda are very technically gifted, but it's just the mindset and working hard. That's I can't stress it enough. That's why I keep saying it. That would probably be my answer to that.
Thank you. And I'm going to ask Mr. Bashir, because we still have an amateur country, we're still playing amateur football here on Sunday afternoon. Listen, Mr. Bashir, what is 3 things that you could tell about our structure, what we need to improve on our structure? I still think the Bermuda structure here at the club level is still not where it should be. Could you give us 3 main things that's most important that you could share with us about the structure of a club, just a regular club, my club is North Village. So what is paramount for the 3 most important things that you think that we should be doing here in this country now to prepare these youngsters for another level?
What structure would need to be put in place. Very similar to what I've done here in England, it's obviously coach education is paramount. The coach education for all the coaches at every club, getting their qualifications and then getting the next qualification. And there's some sort of guide at each club where they're overlooked and overseen to make sure each coach is achieving and looking to get his next badge. That needs to be put in place. So a good coach education philosophy for every single club. Then I would put an eliteness in certain areas where the best 3 players from each club, or the best 2 players as a trial for the clubs in the local areas, and players are recruited out You know, they're recruited out in certain age groups, and they come out on a one evening a week, similar to what I do, and they're coached by elite coaches. So the coaches that you have in Bermuda, there would be, for instance, I don't know, the coaching, what the levels of coaching are, level 3 or A license, but certainly you would put a pool of coaches to coach those talented players and set the environment. This is serious. You know, you want to go to England or you want to go to America, you want to be a pro footballer. This is how we do things. You know, they turn up with the right training kit. They turn up on time. The session has intensity to it. You know, there's a theme to every session. You know, that the players know. The coaches are structured to do the first part of the session, the progression in the middle part of the session, and then a bit of team play at the end that represents what that session was all about, whether it's defending or attacking. Okay, and then at the end of that, where you've got this pool of players coming in at elite level, then you go again. And then you've got, say, for instance, say you've got, I don't know, 3 centres of 50 kids at each centre. You know, you then go again and you have some trial games, and then you pick out your best 20, 25 boys in each age group, or girls for it as well. And that's your players that you're working in this triangle for, this pyramid. But the pyramid's got to start somewhere. And for me, it starts with the coaching at the clubs, then it goes to elite level, and then it goes to the top where you're working with those best players have got that hunger, that desire, okay, and that you can see them develop into the level they need to be.
Mace?
A question for Sadeo. You struggle. You seem from me and you are as father and son have many battles about football and many battles from the perspective of father and son, which is normal. Every time you come back to Bermuda, you seem to go back into that laid back approach. I've seen you personally in the UK, and I've been impressed when you're at your performance in games, your training. I mean, we had Sean Builder there one time watching you. The question for you is, what is the challenge for you to keep up that level when you come back to Bermuda?
Well, obviously, when you're in Bermuda and you reach a certain level, you plateau. So it's really no motivation to go beyond the level, because it's really only you play on a Sunday. You play on a Sunday afternoon in Bermuda. That's the highest level. That's the highest level for you to play at. So it's when you say I come back to Bermuda and I go into the laid back culture, it's kind of like it's. I mean, you just come back and it's parties, you with your friends, and it's really like a party. It's a party culture, which it don't really help a 18-year-old boy. You know what I mean? Like, don't really help an 18-year-old boy that just wants to be with his friends when he comes back, wants to be with his family. But yeah, but like I said, it's really no motivation in Bermuda after you reach a certain level. Like when I'm in England, I play with Fair, and the next level would be to get into an academy. Then the next level would be to break into under 23s team and academy. The next level to be make your first team debut in their pro club. So it's always the next level to go to. In Bermuda, you play is really the best. Actually, I would say the next level in Bermuda would be to play for your national team, but that only happens when it's international breaks. So it's really nothing beyond playing Sunday afternoon football.
Got another question, Mace?
And yeah, for Torian, obviously you being a Bermudian and learn the culture, what do you think about Bermudians coming to FAIB, and how do you think you can assist to transition a Bermudian at a quicker pace because you understand the culture of Bermuda? What do you think you add to that?
Just because Bermudian. I think that's where it comes from. I mean, they would be coming over and thinking, all right, this guy's from where I am. And, you know, his made it to a certain level. I wouldn't say I played at, the best level I could have, but the thing is just having that comfort about, having someone there that is from where you're from. That obviously helps a lot, and just basically just kind of pushing them into just realizing that if you're trying to make it professionally, it's not just the training sessions you have to work hard at. I mean, you gotta work hard with, your diet. You gotta work hard, in the gym. You gotta work hard with going to sleep. You gotta get a good night's sleep. You gotta, wake up in the morning, get yourself into a nice routine, and then you can obviously build on that. So obviously it helps being actually from Bermuda and having someone there that you might not know well, but is actually from where you're from. And it obviously gives them basically a just a focal point to just have a conversation with. So I'm pretty sure that will probably be a good help. And yeah, I mean that's all I can think of at the moment, really.
Coach Jeter?
Yeah, kind of a couple of things actually. Nas, my uncle asked the question and you kind of touched on the structure. At what age would you say that you start pulling together those elite players? Because we do have national academies. At the national academy, I will say 98% of us coaches at the academy are UEFA B licensed coaches. Yeah. So my question would be, at what age would you say that should start? And is that something that should be separate from the national academy? Because our national academy isn't necessarily our national team. So you train in the national academy to make the national team. Is the program you speak about something separate? Because that would entail coaches going around to watch. They'll have to watch club trainings as well as watching club football. And that does require quite a bit of time in an amateur setting. We speak a lot about our players being professional without being paid. And then that leads to mindset. So I love what Tori said about the mindset. And it's something that I'm trying to instill in my players at the moment, that our mindset has to change. But I'll let you answer that, and then I have one more for Zadeo. So at what age do we have that structure, and is it separate from what our national academy is doing?
Yeah, I mean, my experience coaching young players for like 30 years now, I would say it's good for the kids to get to secondary school, and they become a little bit older, a bit more mature. So I would say from the age of 12 or depending on school structure in Bermuda, maybe 14. So their maturation is a little bit more, they're a little bit more physically developed. But certainly in England, the academies in England, we start at sort of like 6, 7, 8 years old. This boys at, say, for Reading, Chelsea, they're getting signed at under 9s, 8 years old, and they're doing 4 sessions a week. But I would certainly look to do certainly even 12 or 14. I personally would want 1 session a week with those players, linking into possibly 2 sessions a week. And then maybe during school holidays have get-togethers where there'd be a big pool of players come together, and you would there'd be a selection process, and the best players will be selected out to play in certain games against opposing teams, and that's where you would challenge your players. If there's no challenge for the players to get better, then it doesn't work. If, for instance, you've got a group of players, they're winning every game 15-0 or 12-0, they're not learning anything. If they're playing against good opposition, but the boys or the girls have been well coached over a period of time to a coaching program by good coaches, and no disrespect to the coaches need a coaching program as well to work to, then I think there would be an end product. I think the players would become a little bit more hungry. There's like Zadeo said, at the moment, it doesn't seem to be an end, a light at the end of the tunnel for the players. I can get to a level, but where do I go? is it the national team only? If there's an elite group of players, boys and girls, 16 to 18, 18 to 20, playing against good opposition, you know, 2-3 times a season, maybe 4 times a season, depending on the revenue or the costings, then I think that would certainly push Bermudan players, boys, women, men, boys and girls, up a further level.
Thank you. And for Sadeo, well, I totally agree with you that there's just one place to go. You know, there isn't any motivation. However, I did see quite often, you know, you and a few boys, I had to, you know, at times kick you off the field for my training sessions. What will it take though, with you having the mindset that you were going back, yeah, as the girls and the parties and all that kind of stuff? But what can you, you know, what do you take from your experience out there, even when you come back to Bermuda? Like, what is it that needs to happen for you to continue to train hard? Like I'm sure you train out there, you train hard. Is it the opportunity to do that? Is it having persons in place to provide that chance for you guys? Is it something like what Nas is saying, for when you guys come back from away, having some sort of structured environment to have you elite players continue to train and continue to play? Again, it becomes a mindset. Like, you know what your end goal is, and Bermuda may not be providing that for you. You know, what would it take for when the players come back? And I'm asking this for selfish reasons, because I mean, I do everything I can to continue to have my girls playing at a high level, even when they return. You know, what will it take for you young boys that do come? And I do see it, and it is difficult, because you come back and it seems like, oh, this is laid back, and sometimes it may be too easy. It may actually be too easy for you, you know, when you come back here, you know, and you definitely have to be intrinsically motivated to continue to press on. But what will it take in your mind? Like, what can we do so that we don't have young men like yourself feeling like, oh, well, I'm just coming back here to play Sunday ball anyway?
Well, I feel like when boys my age, like my age group, actually any age group, when we go abroad and then we come back, when we go abroad and we leave the like national programs, and we leave our home clubs, I feel like that we just leave, like, and nobody keeps a hold of us. Like, they don't know what we're doing, they don't know when we come back, they don't know nothing about us. So when we come back, it's literally nothing. It's nothing for us to do. But I say if a coach from the national team said, oh yeah, Zadeo's coming back, Dan, he's coming back, and okay, well, we got training for him, we got this for him to keep him on track while he's in Bermuda. I feel like that in Bermuda isn't really good enough, because we just come back and it's really nothing for us to do while we're in the country.
We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, Nas, I have a question for you as well regarding your program and the England national program. We'll be right back.
Just in time for spring cleaning comes a fragrant, naturally effective solution. Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day Household Cleaners. Formulated not with the usual harsh chemicals like chlorine, ammonia, and petroleum derivatives, but powerful natural essences with garden-inspired scents. Safer for your children and pets, and aromatherapeutic too. This month we're featuring Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day Laundry Detergent with geranium and lavender, multi-surface cleaners powered by the invigorating aromas of lavender, bluebell, and honeysuckle, and more. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Nas, how much communication does your program have with the English national program, and do they supply your program with players and the sort? Because I think one of the things that we continue to struggle with in Bermuda is many believe that the national program should be sending players to programs like yours as apart from the program that they come up in their club. So how much communication do you have with the England national program, and do they supply you with players?
Yes, and what happens is we're like a backdrop a little bit for I mean, we have some untapped talent that comes at 16 that clubs have not seen. We had a boy called Connor Hall, for instance, no club had ever, and he signs at Sheffield United. He's played for Bolton's reserves, top goal scorer. So we get boys that are untapped, but most of the Football League clubs, Premier League clubs, Championship clubs, they know where we are. We're like a parachute drop for people that get released from clubs. They can come back to us. They may be physically not ready. For instance, Matty Cash is playing for Aston Villa now in the Premier League. Matty got released when he was 15 because the club said he was too small. He came to us for 2 years. We got him signed at Nottingham Forest, and he's now playing in the Premier League for Aston Villa. So, our project is all about giving players opportunity. If they're a late developer, if they need more time, if they're game understanding, we spend, we do game analysis, match analysis, we do testing, we do exactly what professional clubs do, if not more, to try and give the player the best opportunity to become a professional footballer.
Okay. Maceo? You gotta unmute.
Yeah, I've been to the facility, and I noticed that a lot of clubs from Europe will come. Europe come and stay there and train there, and they're preparing. I personally see that facility that you have at Bishop Abbey as a proper facility for training camps to be held for Bermuda. We now know we have a lot of players in the UK that's in school or playing football in the UK, and I see that facility with the fields and the hotel that's there becoming, being capable of being a training camp for Bermuda for 2 weeks or whatever for international matches. What type of contacts do you have if that was to happen to create matches for Bermuda teams to come there?
And obviously that can be arranged, no problem at all. Like you said, we have international teams coming all the time, staying at the facility. I was at Bisham today. Arsenal was under 23s. We're playing against Brentford under 23s. So there's always professional games going on there. Certainly, there wanted to be a link to use the facility, and but put an agreement forward to Bisham Abbey, and that'd be no problem at all. That would jump at the chance to have you guys there.
Punt?
And girls, guys and girls.
No worries. No worries.
Hey, Torrin, I'm gonna ask you this question. I've got a few things to say. The result of the national team against Canada, that result, of course, there was a lot said. We were ill prepared. I don't know if you saw the game, but I still believe that that result should just how far behind we are. And the other thing to this is that what Mr. Bashir said about organization in our country, which also adds to what Sadeo was saying about what I don't think is being done enough here. And so, Torrin, do you think we're headed in the right direction, more like the guy Critchlow from Watford? I said on the show that we should be, last week's show, that we should be Aruba. But it did show our lack of quality against Canada. I think we could be a lot better, even though we're a small country. So in all of this, I'm asking, are we heading in the right direction? Do you think we're heading in the right direction, even the result wasn't what we won against Canada?
Well, when you look at that kind of result, obviously, if you just look at the score, you think Bermuda got beat again. But to be honest, you have to look at the quality that Canada have as well. I heard that there were some issues with guys testing positive or not. I'm not sure what the story was, and I didn't actually see the game because it started at about 12 o'clock out here, and I think I just went to sleep. So I didn't actually watch the game, but to be honest, when you think about it, when I was coming up, there was no other than Cano and Joe and Barry Newsom for a little bit. There wasn't many guys playing overseas. So when you look at it now, there's guys out here playing in teams that I didn't even know Kane Critchlow, to be honest with you, until I came to Fayette, and I was talking to Zadeo, and Zadeo was telling me about, you know, guys that are playing, like Remy Connaughton is out here playing as well. So there's more players out here, and there's more players, you know, playing in the US, like Zico. But I mean, I would think that the level is definitely getting better, but it's just, I don't know. I think it comes back again to like the mindset, because you're thinking, oh, we're playing Canada, and you kind of feel like, oh, geez, we're going into this game, we're thinking, okay, we're probably going to get beat. So, I mean, if it comes with confidence. I mean, playing against teams like Canada, regularly, like we made the Gold Cup a few years ago, playing against good teams, quality teams. It's going to get better. It might not be where we want it to be, but I'm seeing that there's a really young team. So as long as they're getting in there early and playing these, you know, types of games now, in a few years, it gives them an idea of like, okay, so this is the level we need to be at. So it's just basically keeping those kind of guys engaged, and, you know, in a few years, keeping that team together. And then next thing you know, they know exactly how each other plays. They know strength and weaknesses of the team, you know, individually and as a team. Is that the main thing that I saw when I was coming up? It was always a break, and there was no continuous training. From what I heard, that, you know, they're having more training sessions, you know, throughout the year and everything else. So that's obviously a better thing. And I'm not there at the training session, so I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm pretty sure that they're definitely getting some kind of you know, structure type training. So I mean, you look at the result and you think, yeah, we haven't gotten any better. But you have to remember that as well as us getting better, other teams and other countries are also getting better. Like, obviously you talk about Alphonso Davies, who's playing for Bayern Munich and is from Canada. I didn't see who played for Canada, but they have another striker that plays for Lille in France. So they're at the top of the league right now in France. So you have to look at the quality as well for the other teams. And obviously I didn't see the game, so I can't speak on, you know, what it looked like. But we do fall into this thing where we beat the teams we're supposed to beat, and then when we come up against the bigger teams, we kind of think, oh, we're going to get beat. So once that kind of thinking changes, I'm pretty sure results will follow. And when we have our, you know, our full team out, I mean, it will probably be much better as well. So I would think it's a step in the right direction, because there's so many players playing outside of Bermuda now, and that's what you need. And you need to bring those players back to you know, a good program, basically. So I think we're heading in the right direction in that regard. And it's just the training sessions, I'm guessing, that I would say probably needs a little bit of, you know, enforcing, because like Zadeo talked about coming back from away, you want to come back to some structured training sessions. And as well, Zadeo and those guys coming back, they have to play a part as well, because they have to come back, and if they're seeing that guys are not got that level, and they need to help those guys to raise that level or raise their level, instead of, you know, thinking, oh, geez, you know, coming back to these guys, you know, the level's not that great. But it has to be on the coaches and the players as well. So hopefully it's going in the right direction. I think it is, because a lot of players are playing outside of the US. I mean, outside of Bermuda. So don't look too much into the final scores. Yeah, and I think we'll once we change that mindset, we should be all right.
Coach Keeter?
No, I don't really have anything. I was, agreeing more so on the lines of what Tori was saying, that, had we had, our top data players, I know the result would have been different. And we all headed in the right direction. I mean, just the inclusion of players like Remy and some of those younger players that didn't make the roster for this run. I'm almost certain they will make the roster for the June run, and we'll see a different result, especially if we have access to all of our players. But I love the word mindset. Mindset keeps coming up because that's really the difference. And I love Torian spoke earlier. He said technically we're not far off. I mean, I watch women's games all the time, and technically no. Physically, yes. Fitness wise, yes. We need to do some work. And again, that requires the sort of structure that these guys are in. That's training every day. But again, it's finding a way to do that in an amateur culture. It's finding, I would love to. I train twice a week on the field and one day actually on the weekends. But if I can train my girls, and they're asking for it. We had a meeting the other day and they're like, can we please train? Can we train another day when the coaches aren't there? So, the players are now starting to change their mindset because they realize what it takes to play at that next level. And we are now playing we're playing the Canadas and the Mexicos and those teams a lot. And we are, at some point, we're going to get to that point of, we can beat these guys. We're going to beat these guys, it's small steps for us. And I think we're climbing them, at the right pace.
Yeah. Well, I do want to thank Naz, Turin, and Zadeo for your time this evening and enlighten us. Naz, can you just, if anyone wanted to get in touch with your organization, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, I mean, they can look us up. We're the Fab Academy, Bishop Abbey National Sports Centre. We've had 2 or 3 boys over that have absolutely loved it. I mean, like you say, Zadeo's come. We've got Jace Basden. We've got Ria Russell at the moment as well from Bermuda. And, we've got opportunities for boys and girls. Like I said, we're pushing our girls out as well, our girls program. So, yeah, we're on the website, fabacademy.co.uk. And obviously, we'd love to help people out in their development of becoming a professional footballer or a coach or a career in sport.
And final question: what if somebody just wanted to come in and be a part of that coaching course that you offered to the students? Is that available to someone who wanted to come and take the level 1, level 2, or is it just for people that are in the academy?
Well, I spoke to Maseo about this. We possibly may be looking to bring some coaches over from Bermuda to Bishop Abbey and run some coaching qualifications. That's something we could certainly do for a week or 2 weeks. So we could try and help with the coaching. It's like anything. If you haven't got the spectrum of coaches to coach the players, we have a lot in England. We have a lot of dads give up their time, parents, to run a team, but unfortunately they haven't got the knowledge or the experience to pass on the skills or the techniques or the game understanding. If you've got a qualified coach running the teams, then all of a sudden the quality of what you're applying lifts everybody. So I'm looking to run some courses for coaches to come from Bermuda, other countries, to stay at Bisham. It's a great environment to learn, and hopefully we'll have that in place in September onwards.
Okay. All right. So again, I want to thank you 3 for joining us here on the football show. We'll be back next Sunday, probably for the final time for this season with another football show. So again, thank you very much, and do enjoy the rest of your night.
Thanks, everybody.
Go, guys.
Keep safe.